Celebrities face a lot of pressure when they're in the spotlight, so you can't really blame them for wanting to take the edge off before heading into an interview. Of course, that doesn't always mean they won't make themselves look like idiots on camera when they do. In late November 2006, Danny DeVito appeared on The View for the first time to promote his holiday movie Deck the Halls, but he was admittedly too intoxicated to stay on track. Co-host Joy Behar joked that DeVito had been out drinking, which the actor confirmed. He'd apparently spent the evening getting wasted with George Clooney. DeVito quipped, "I knew it was the last 7 limoncellos that was gonna get me." DeVito proceeded to imitate then-President George W. Bush as if he were one of the Three Stooges, and told a story about how he and his then-wife Rhea Perlman once stayed in the White House's Lincoln bedroom during the Bill Clinton administration. According to DeVito, they did more than just sleep there. He continued, "We made it our business to really wreck the joint. I mean, every place in that bedroom was utilized." A year and a half after this memorably drunken morning TV appearance, DeVito leaned into the bit by launching his own line of limoncello. Drew Barrymore made the talk show rounds in 2015 to promote the British release of her new film Miss You Already, a friendship dramedy co-starring Toni Collette. Barrymore explained during an appearance on Alan Carr Chatty Man that both US and UK talk shows offer guests a pre-show cocktail or alcoholic beverage, citing a Tonight Show beverage cart full of options to loosen people up before they went out on stage. Carr's Channel 4 show in the UK was a little different in that the guests were encouraged to snarf down a tipple or two on camera during taping.
This is how you don't drink on talk shows. I think I just figured it out.
While Barrymore never drank before a Tonight Show interview, she did indulge in some white wine during her interview on Chatty Man, and perhaps a bit too much at that. She quipped, "This is a first. I am not kidding. You are changing my view of what it is to be on a talk show." Singer-songwriter Willie Nelson is famous for exactly 3 things: his outlaw country music career, his lengthy battle with the IRS over unpaid taxes, and his unabashed enjoyment of marijuana. He first tried the drug in the mid-1950s, and in 1978 it replaced cigarettes and alcohol as his intoxicant of choice. Nelson told Rolling Stone, "It saved my life, really." In 2010, Nelson appeared as a guest on Larry King Live, where the late host peppered him with questions about his marijuana use. Nelson affirmed that he had no problem smoking some pot before hitting the stage, but noted that he has built up a huge tolerance. When King asked Nelson if he'd smoked marijuana that very day before the interview, Nelson replied in the affirmative, leading to an incredible exchange.
"So you
do what?
I'm potting you right now."
Yeah, you could arrest me.
Thankfully, King didn't take Nelson up on that offer. On scripted shows like Full House, John Stamos is usually the coolest guy in the room, reassuringly calm, collected, and quietly confident. This was not the case in 2007 when he appeared on the popular Australian AM talk show Mornings with Carrie Ann. Appearing disheveled and even yelling out the word vodka at one point, Stamos claimed that his difficult-to-ignore state was the result of jet lag, suffered from the long flight to Australia from the US. It was apparently the second morning in a row he felt that way, as he spent the previous day doing press. The interview devolved to the point where Stamos was forcibly snuggling the host while rambling about Elvis Presley's passing.
What a great way to end an interview. Anyone else want to talk about dead?
2 years later, Stamos dropped the act and admitted that jet lag wasn't the only thing to blame for his actions. He told The Advocate, "I'll be honest, when I went on that morning show, I was drunk. Yes, I was on sleeping pills and I was jet lagged, but I was also just plastered." As a high-ranking Bravo executive and host of the network's flagship talk show, Watch What Happens Live, Andy Cohen presides over a nightly parade of celebrities and reality show stars. It can get pretty raucous, even without the introduction of alcohol, which is available via the Watch What Happens Live on-set bar. Cohen generally stays above the fray. He has to keep the show moving, on time and on subject after all. But he told the Allegedly podcast in 2016 that while he'd conducted a drunk interview on an episode of Watch What Happens Live, he was also once the subject of an interview after consuming THC, you know, the active ingredient in marijuana. A huge St. Louis Cardinals fan, Cohen was invited to throw out the ceremonial first pitch at one of the team's home games that May. Beforehand, he'd eaten a THC lollipop.
"Oh, I got a bad feeling about this."
Cohen recalled, "I forgot that they were going to be pulling me into the broadcast booth. I was appropriately high at the time. It was all so weird and surreal." Sean Penn is a 2-time Academy Award-winning actor with a reputation as a very serious guy. He doesn't usually go for these celebrity promotional circus games that fuel talk shows, so an interview with him is an unpredictable affair. His appearance on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert to promote his first novel, Bob Honey, Who Just Do Stuff, went viral for just that reason and more. Not only did Penn smoke throughout the 2018 interview, not seen on late nights since the heyday of Johnny Carson decades ago, but he also admitted at the top of the segment that he was maybe not going to be very receptive or precise in his responses to Colbert's questions.
You've inherited a little of the Ambien I had to take to get to sleep after a red eye last night.
What answers Penn did manage were short, rambling, and off-topic. Many viewers weighed in online with their concerns about Penn's appearance and mental state. As one posted, "What's up with Sean Penn stoned and disheveled with very weird hair and smoking on Colbert?" The Graham Norton Show is already one of the wackiest talk shows around. Norton's infectious energy rubs off on his celebrity guests, who are prone to singing, kissing, dancing, and revealing embarrassing personal stories. Some of that openness and willingness to entertain at any cost may be a result of alcohol, which guests drink on stage. When big-time movie star and former rapper Mark Wahlberg appeared on The Graham Norton Show in 2013, he may have had one too many complimentary cocktails. While comedian Sarah Silverman told a funny story about her childhood bedwetting issues, Wahlberg nervously shifted in his seat before moving over to sit in Norton's lap and rubbing all over him.
That's wrong. Don't touch the man there.
Norton later told Digital Spy that the speculation that Wahlberg had been drunk was spot on. He pointed out, "We've all done that thing where you suddenly realize I'm by far the drunkest person at this dinner party and you don't know how that happened. I don't judge him harshly at all." Wahlberg, however, claimed that the whole thing was a pre-planned comedy routine, saying, "I tried to do a bit and some people took it a little too seriously." The last run of episodes of The Late Show with David Letterman in 2015, the comedian's final broadcasts after 35 years on network television, was a star-studded affair. That said, producers didn't know until the last minute whether or not Bill Murray, one of Letterman's favorite and most frequent guests, would show up. According to Scott Ryan's book, The Last Days of Letterman, the final 6 weeks, Murray did show up before the taping with the idea to do a jokey ad read for a Slovenian vodka brand. During rehearsal with the show's writers, he insisted on practicing with real vodka. This meant that Murray was significantly intoxicated by the time he appeared on The Late Show that night, stumbling out of a cake to do his commercial and drinking about half a bottle with Letterman.
It's smooth, folks. It's smooth. It's smooth. It goes down like Slovenian mother's milk.
That booze was apparently still in Murray's system a few hours later when he showed up to chat on MSNBC's The Last Word with Lawrence O'Donnell. On that set, Murray struggled with a chair and he leaned over too far, falling to the ground. He joked afterwards, "I went down and hurt myself properly." Perhaps the most thoughtful and music industry entrenched judge on Fox's wacky costumed talent show The Masked Singer, it's easy to forget that Robin Thicke used to be a pop superstar. In 2007, the ballad Lost Without You topped Billboard's Hot R&B Hip-Hop Songs chart for 11 weeks. And in 2013, Blurred Lines, his collaboration with Pharrell Williams and T.I., topped the Hot 100 chart for 12 weeks. That song would lead to serious legal trouble for Thicke, as he was sued by the estate of Marvin Gaye. They alleged that Blurred Lines lifted heavily from the singer's Got to Give It Up. A court eventually ruled in favor of Gaye, initially ordering Thicke and company to pay out more than $7 million. In 2014, The Hollywood Reporter published previously sealed testimony from the suit, in which Thicke revealed a lot about his public behavior and motivations. Thicke admitted to telling Billboard a story about the creation of Blurred Lines, in which he took credit for writing more of the song than he did. He also said that a televised interview with Oprah Winfrey, in which he discussed his love for Marvin Gaye, was done under the influence of alcohol and the prescription painkiller hydrocodone. In fact, Thicke reckoned, "I didn't do a single interview last year without being high." If you pen a tune titled Churchill Downs, attending the Kentucky Derby is a must. But you might want to keep tabs on how many of those mint juleps your guests drink. When Kentucky native Jack Harlow showed up to watch the first leg of the Triple Crown in person, he brought his collaborator on the song, Drake, with him. After a few drinks, Drake couldn't quite keep to himself, and he ended up crashing Harlow's interview with NBC.
There's a guy next to you.
Oh, Drizzy is here. Drake is in the house.
I was just trying to listen. I was trying to listen into what you guys got going on.
This is so exciting.
NBC correspondent Rutledge Wood couldn't contain his excitement about Drizzy being in the hizzy. Drake made sure to throw some compliments on his friend before admitting that he wasn't in a sober state.
I'm so proud of this guy, and we're drunk. He's sober. I'm drunk.
Drake revealed that he and Harlow both wagered on the horse Happy Jack, who finished 14th in the race. Despite someone behind the camera making a motion to wrap up the interview, both Drake and Wood were too amped up to end it immediately.
You can't give the wrap it up signal. What are you gonna cut to?
Right?
What are you gonna cut to?
It's Drake and Jack Harlow, y'all.
Cheers was one of NBC's most successful sitcoms of all time, winning Outstanding Comedy Series at the Emmy Awards 4 times. The final episode aired in May 1993, and NBC understandably made it into an evening-long event, following up the 2-hour installment with an episode of The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, broadcast live from Boston and featuring the cast. Perhaps because the actors were both mourning and celebrating the end of 11 years of making wonderful television, or perhaps because the episode was produced at the Bull and Finch, the Boston bar that inspired Cheers, the large cast of Cheers got wasted that night. They'd gathered to watch the final Cheers together, and by 11:30, when The Tonight Show went live, the actors were completely plastered. Cheers writer Ken Levine recalled in 2013, "They were so drunk they needed designated walkers. They giggled like schoolgirls over nothing, fired spitballs into each other's mouths." Meanwhile, Woody Harrelson made sex jokes while Kirstie Alley sang a filthy song. A week later, Leno told the Boston Herald that the live show had been a bad idea, adding that a handful of scripted sketches with each cast member had to be canceled. The year after the NBA's 2021 announcement that it would stop randomly testing players for marijuana, Phoenix Suns forward Kevin Durant appeared on David Letterman's My Next Guest Needs No Introduction and discussed his fondness for the drug. Durant decried a broken legal system that sends people to prison for decades for selling cannabis, and he talked about how he was partnering with the tech company Weed Maps to find ways to improve the public's perception of the plant. He also explained why he uses it himself, saying, "To me, it clears the distractions out of your brain a little bit, settles you down." When Letterman asked Durant if he'd toked up before their interview, he responded honestly.
So did you smoke today?
Yeah.
And you're just fine?
I'm actually high right now.
While Durant was still perfectly capable of answering Letterman's questions with thoughtful responses, it sounds like the talk show host wouldn't have functioned so well if he'd shared a joint with Durant. Letterman recalled the time he attended a baseball game in the 70s or 80s when he was stoned, saying that he sat stone still and marveled over the pitcher's mound.
And I kept thinking, wow, that guy's standing on a mound of dirt. Whoa, it's actually a mound of dirt.
After having a few tequila drinks during a 2015 GQ interview, Michael B. Jordan had some fighting words for Jake Gyllenhaal. At the time, the two actors were appearing in the respective boxing-themed movies Creed and Southpaw. Jordan said, "Physically, Jake, Gyllenhaal, all that. We want to come for him, look better than him. You know, I'm competitive, so in my head it was, I'ma work harder than all of them. That." Jordan confessed to being inebriated after his diatribe. He also apparently couldn't remember everything he'd said about his film Fantastic Four over dinner and drinks with the GQ reporter. He had to call and be assured that he didn't trash the movie, although it seemed destined to bomb at the box office regardless of his remarks. In reality, he just expressed annoyance at the negative chatter about the film and suggested that the final product didn't resemble the original script. When the IT Crowd actor Chris O'Dowd appeared on the British talk show The Last Leg in 2018, he had his fellow panelists, host Adam Hills, and the studio audience in hysterics with his drunken rambling. It became clear that he was a bit inebriated when he slurred his way through a speech about the dangers that Russian trolls pose, saying, "The first wave of the apocalypse is this Russian troll horse." But right after that, they become legitimized and become just like normal public relations people working in Soho. Later on, O'Dowd was snacking on green grapes when he outed his dog as a critic of Banksy's graffiti art, saying that his pet made his own additions to one of the artist's canine-themed pieces located near his home.
He would piss against a Banksy print every day. And to me, I thought that was art.
On social media, O'Dowd shared that he felt a little embarrassed by his sloshed state on the show, and he also revealed that he didn't have as much to drink as viewers might have assumed. He posted, "Didn't feel like I drank a bunch, but I went to the studio from the gym and skipped dinner. Unwise in retrospect." Anna Kendrick proved herself an expert with a cup in 2012's Pitch Perfect, and she took her skills to the next level when Marie Claire treated her to a bartending class in 2014. She also tasted a few too many of her creations. She posted, "Marie Claire got me drunk for my interview. True, didn't fight it." The year prior, Kendrick had spoken to Vulture about getting accidentally drunk while shooting the movie Drinking Buddies, saying that she didn't realize that the beer she was chugging for one scene was the real deal. She recalled, I was horrified by the idea that I was going to be the next troublesome star who got drunk and started flipping over tables or whatever. But Kendrick didn't get hostile or make any crazy confessions while buzzed. Instead, she lamented her lack of upper body strength and revealed that she sees plenty of the snarky comments about her appearance on social media. She continued, "The most common thing that I get is, am I the only one who doesn't think that Anna Kendrick is pretty? And you're like, no, you're not the only one. Arguably, all of the boys in my high school agree with you." Miley Cyrus's love of Mary Jane was no secret when she appeared on The Tonight Show in 2017, but what was news to her fans was that she'd decided to stop smoking weed. Cyrus explained to host Jimmy Fallon that she wanted to be clear-headed while chatting about the album she was promoting at the time, Younger Now, saying, "I've always been very stoned on your shows." Cyrus claimed that was the reason why she put on a pair of bunny ears with an attached lace face veil in the middle of a 2015 appearance on The Tonight Show.
Well, it's really funny because I am a freaking bunny that is doing an interview. So there.
As part of the game they were playing, this was Cyrus's attempt at topping Fallon's declaration that he had won the title of Sexiest Man Alive. Then she took a different approach.
I will always be better than you, always, 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 and forever.
Oh my gosh,
I've got boobs.
That's what's gonna be on my headstone.
Win.
That's gonna be on my headstone when I pass away.
I will always win.
Singer Elle King treated viewers to a performance that was funnier than any of her father Rob Schneider's stand-up routines at the 2017 Grammy Awards. After the show, she shared a video clip on Instagram of one of her red carpet interviews. When she was asked why boys have their hearts broken more easily, she responded, "Because guys have never had a period." In the caption of another Instagram post, the drunk and I don't want to go home singer made a confession about her state of mind during that interview. She joked, "Note to self, don't eat a bunch of pot muffins before the Grammys red carpet. Accidentally high AF." This might explain why King was invited to judge an episode of the Netflix series Cooked with Cannabis in 2020. She also admitted that she actually couldn't recall what the reporter had asked her when she came up with her apt response about why all isn't fair in Love and War. As for why she looked like she zoned out for a moment, she explained that she had spotted something shiny. When UFC champ Chuck Liddell appeared on the show Good Morning Texas in 2007, he mumbled and slurred his words so badly that much of what he said was incoherent. At one point, his interviewer became concerned enough to check in on him.
You okay, Chuck?
Yeah, I'm okay.
All right. You all right?
All right, doing all right.
Liddell perked up and enunciated his words somewhat better when the topic turned to the movie 300, which he was there to promote. He said of the Spartan soldiers depicted in the film, "I think at all times they thought they could win, but they were also willing to give up their life to win what they thought they should win."
For the most part, the tough guys out there, they've got to get beaten this sport. They're not going to listen to someone with just one mower.
Liddell's responses went back to being mostly unintelligible after that, and the patient interviewer ended their chat by telling him, "All right, Chuck, hang in there." Liddell replied, "I'm working on it." In 2021, Liddell revealed on his podcast, Icebreakers, "I hadn't gone out because I was sick from going out. I took Ambien. My buddy gave me Ambien. I don't know how they woke me up. They didn't wake me up mentally, but they got me to that show somehow." Over the years, Oasis member Noel Gallagher has garnered a reputation as a curmudgeon who isn't afraid to speak his mind. His fellow musicians are often targets of his tongue lashings, and it appears that alcohol doesn't make him more affable. In a 2008 appearance on the Chris Moyles show, Gallagher admitted that he'd been up all night drinking at a London club after performing for a small group of fans. He got just 2 hours of shut-eye before being interviewed and told Moyles that he was still drunk. Gallagher recounted how he witnessed a friend of his fight with a ticket scalper during his raucous night, but soon the conversation turned to the British singer's opinions on various celebrities' odors. He claimed that Russell Brand smelled like when you mix garlic with coffee and alcohol, said that Big Brother star Jade Goody's odor was like stale urine, and poked fun at himself by saying that his cologne would be called eau de toe rag. Gallagher had an especially harsh insult for late singer Amy Winehouse, calling her a destitute horse. He eviscerated her collaborator Mark Ronson as well, saying he wants to write his own tunes instead of ruining everybody else's. Pop icon Madonna should have been the perfect guest for a 1994 episode of The Late Show with David Letterman, but it didn't take long for things to go fully off the rails. Over the course of the 20-minute talk, she dropped the F-bomb more than a dozen times, like when Letterman tried to pressure her into kissing an audience member.
"You are a sick."
That was just the tip of the iceberg. Madonna was distracted by the suggestive shape of a microphone and asked if Letterman was wearing a toupee. When the host joked that he was going to make her wash her mouth out with soap, The singer responded that she was going to have him sniff her underwear. She also gave some strange responses that didn't exactly match up to the questions Letterman was asking her.
What are you going to do now? What are you going to do after the show?
Did you know that it's good if you pee in the shower?
I'm sorry.
Years later, Madonna explained her bad behavior during a much calmer appearance on The Late Show, saying, "It wasn't because I was excited about you. I think it may have had something to do with the joint I smoked before I came on."